Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Clone Wars Retrospective. I am Ahsoka the boss, and Darth Maul is a little bitch trash now. Have mercy.
Oh yeah.
I like that. That's not a bad thing.
Oh man.
There's juicy ones in this.
There is
Are
juicy
you
ones.
pre-Taylor? Like pre-Vesla?
No, I don't want to be pre-Taylor. Yikes. I am the. Ooh. Oh, I had one. I got one. I am the.
It's not like we're on a time crunch or anything.
No, not at all. I am the. I don't want to go with the Mandalorian. I don't want to go with the pre. I don't want to go with the droid either.
Oh my gosh.
I am. I'll go. There is no mercy, Taylor Field. Fuck.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse myself. We are reviewing every single episode of the Clone Wars in honor of the Season 7 revival coming February 14th. We are, at the time of this recording, a month and 2 days away. I'm even getting excited because this season was great. I'm looking very excited.
Very fantastic.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. We just did a whole big cast. Go back, check out Cantina, check out all the other Clone Wars. But we are, Taylor, are you excited? We're so close.
I'm
getting
so
excited.
pumped. I'm so livid.
I really hope. I bet they're only going to do one a week. I'd like to, but if they do one, that's fine. But yeah, we're going to review every single episode of that. We're not going to wait till it's all done. We'll review it weekly, so that's going to be lots of fun. And yeah, so we are in Season 5. We're doing a little bit of different this time. Usually we go like 5 or 6 episodes. We're putting 10 in this episode. The reason is we're going to read off all the descriptions, give a quick rating. But me and Taylor talked about it would have been unfair for us to put out the robot episode as a single episode because we honestly don't have that much to say on them. Gwen, my daughter, really liked those episodes, So
Oh yeah.
And
They're
that's
made
why
for little kids.
That's why I get they're in there because they are. This is still at times a kid's show. But this season, that's where I'll say, because I kind of say it's the beginning. I still think when people told me of like season 1 and 2 is fine, but after that it gets amazing. I don't agree with that, but I agree with that. There's certain story arcs that get fantastic. But I would say that taking out these droid episodes, the entirety of season 5 is great. This is like legitimately what people are talking about. Season 4, I think the back half was all great as well. It was like right when we hit the Krell episodes, all that was great. So I would honestly say like from 1 to 3, and we're going to do a rankings episode when season 7's over, but 1 to 3 is always like lots of kiddie stuff, lots of bad stuff, but there's some good arcs. And then the back half of season 4 to 5 is like the great show that everyone talks about. Because once we talk about the Maul episodes and the Ahsoka episodes, those were phenomenal. And I would watch those again. I was going to actually, honestly, in the near future, I might before it comes back. But that's why we're going to do the last 10 of season 5 because we don't have much to say about the droids. Anything to say, Taylor, before we get into this?
Nope.
Oh, man. Oh, my water's there. I'm going to read this. And then you can let me know what you think. So, a sunny day in the void after the ship crashes on a desolate planet. D-Squad, Colonel Gascon must find a way off to get back to Coruscant or be stranded forever. What do you think about this episode, Taylor?
Yeah, I think the planet was very interestingly designed, but I mean, we got a whole episode of them wandering the desert, so it was just wild. I love that they were trying to
is the word.
I love that they were trying to fix the ship when they were in that like jumped out of hyperspace, that like meteor shower thing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
there's some fun stuff in these episodes. That's why for me, like as a spoiler, all of them are thumbs up because there's nothing like a whatever Gungan like Jar Jar episode where it's like this is tough to watch. And like I said, I think kids would enjoy this. But all these episodes to me were enjoyable. But I will forget them when we're done talking about. I've already forgotten some pieces about them because the episodes were so good.
Yeah, I just remember it when I was watching through this season for the first time, and I knew the Maul stuff was coming.
Yeah,
not live.
But you'd heard.
I was. It's funny because at the time, these episodes, when they premiered, there was so many people on YouTube that just put the episodes up right onto YouTube right after they premiered. Mm-hmm. So I just watched them on YouTube. But
wow.
I know, I couldn't believe it.
Piracy is
YouTube
not a victory.
Was slacking.
You're mixing up my private. No! Piracy is not a victimless crime.
There you go. Yeah, so I remember like, oh, Darth Maul's gonna pop in here soon, and like, oh, I gotta get through these fucking droid episodes.
Yeah, they teased you with that first episode of Darth Maul. I would give this episode a thumbs up. I have nothing more to say. And like Taylor hit the nail on the head. It's just them wandering around a bunch, getting adventures, trying to get off this planet. Great.
The one guy going insane.
And I did say I'm not a big like droid guy. I think there's one episode in here that's actually not too bad, which is coming up next. But other than that, I'm not a huge droid guy, so I don't attach onto them.
Yeah, I would give this just a thumb half, or just
Whoa,
a
a
half
thumb
thumb.
half. I'm
There
giving it
was
higher than
Yeah, you are.
Taylor.
I'm surprised. There wasn't anything going good for me really in this episode, but I just where it gets to, I love where it gets to like introducing the new character we're gonna talk about.
We're talking about that in Missing in Action. Colin Gascon and D-Scott discover that Abathar, the planet that they're trapped on, is separatist controlled. But they also discover a Republic clone commander named Gregor, who has been stranded on the planet as well. They must work together to get off the planet safely. So this is a serious episode, but the thing that didn't make it serious, so I think you know where I'm going. So Gregor, it's almost like Forrest Gumpy. So Gregor is this guy. He's a chef. He's like not even a chef. He's just like
he's a
janitor,
dishwasher.
right? Dishwasher, right? So there's this alien that's just like he's so over the top and just like you're my slave.
This
now.
guy reminded me of you. Like, don't ask questions about canon. You simple dishwasher.
Yeah, like the whole episode, it felt so. That's why it's like I can't even give it. I like the idea of the clone losing his memory. Who am I? And that's the whole episode. He like accepts his fate because they talk about what a clone does, and it fights for the rebellion and fights for people that are lower down, and it helps people. Right? You have a job, you have a duty, and that's what the clone commandos do. And I get that, and I like that. That's what he realizes, that this is who I'm meant to be. He's lost his memory, but just the stuff that he has is comedic, and I don't even know what they're going for, but like it sometimes feels like the really racial insensitive like aliens in the prequels, where it's just like, why are these guys like why do they feel like they're like making fun of Spanish people with these aliens, like the droidy car, like it's like, ugh, that wasn't a great look. Or like Jar Jar Binks was like not the greatest representation of maybe black people, like the way they would kind of have him jive. So this guy kind of felt like that, and it was just cheesy. It was just like, but I like the other stuff. And I also, for some reason, this is how I forgot that the alien general guy was the size of just like my foot. Because when I watched it, I'm like, why is he so small? And
Oh no.
I like in this episode, he has some line of just like, oh, well, the Republic sent me here, and it's like, it's not, the one droid says like, it's not because you're good, it's just because you're so small and you could fit in there. Like that can't be the reason. So there's some fun stuff, but I thought it was like, it was good. I liked his death, and I liked when he put on the gear and he was fighting them all. That was all fun. But the stuff, I think he went on too long with like the weird alien, just like, yeah, don't ask questions. You are my property now. And it's just like, all right. So I would give this episode, like I said, actually just a thumb, because I like the idea of it, but it got a little too comedic.
Does it say his name in there?
No, not in this description. No.
I gotta pull up his name, because is that alien? He's a Celestian, which I thought was super, super cool.
Wow, Taylor, I'm done talking, and I go to third Taylor. Let me look up his name, and it's like, oh no, now it's just a bunch of dead air. Check us out on hey Patreon, if you want episodes ad free, head over there. It's early January, maybe it's already out by now. On the $5 tier on Patreon, you get the Suicide Squad commentary track, just exclusive to Patreon. Nowhere else. So you want to get that. Do you have the alien's name?
I got the guy's name.
Boom, do it. And then talk about this episode, because I'm done. I give it a thumb.
His name was Borkus.
Borkus.
You owe Borkus your life. I saved you. He's got that Russian accent
He
too.
does.
But Commander or Captain Gregor, he's super cool, because he served for the 212th Battalion, which
We've
is
never met him before, right?
Never met him. No. So I mean, we've had a brief scene in the Clone Wars where we got to see the clone commandos from Republic Commando. If you ever played that game.
I think I've seen people play. I never owned it. But
It's a fantastic game, and to see like those characters like Sev and all them from like Delta, like them pop in the Clone Wars, just was so cool.
They did that a lot in these earlier seasons, because remember in season 4 they did that, like, even though it's Legends, they did that like Legends episode with Anakin and Obi and the Slave.
Yeah.
So they were pulling from different canon back like in this time. So.
They really were, and it's so cool to see a new clone commando added into the roster. And yeah, Gregor he's a super cool character. I think his story is just fantastic, and I love how when they confront him and show him like who he is, and they take him there. Gregor's like, I know where we can go get my things. I think I have an idea. And they go to the cafe and they're looking or whatever, and then Borkus just fucking strolls in and throws the trunk in there, like, are you looking for this?
Yeah,
and he's like, you a clone or you clone soldier, and I'll show you. And he just one hits him on the head too and knocks him out.
I can't believe that. But even when they first tell him about this, all them getting up, at first he's just like, no, that's not the truth. And then he just walks away. He doesn't even feel cornered by Gregor. He's like, nope, that's not the case. Not real. And that's it. It's just like, you've been caught red-handed. There's all this evidence, but nope.
And two, like his final scene is very long because they're standing in the doorway or walking towards the door when he's yelling and he's like, "Oh, you'll never get off ever far alive. You'll all come back and beg for job. You'll all yes, you'll all come back begging for job from Borkus working as dishwasher." He is the Tommy Wiseau of Star Wars.
Is.
And then they were standing in the doorway, and I think it was about a minute and a half that Borkus was laughing in the doorway.
Oh yeah, he's a weird
long.
guy. I want a Disney Plus series of him.
Yeah, he was interesting. I give this episode I'd probably go 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
That's disrespectful to everything else you've ever given it 2 thumbs up.
No,
to.
I really enjoyed this
Maul
episode.
storylines, the rookies episode. This is a 2-thumber.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
I enjoy Borkus and I enjoy seeing Gregor in this. There's another episode of this arc, right? When they go to the
we got
this
we
was
got
the
a few more episodes.
This was the episode when they escaped on the shuttle, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
Then I got to talk about that a little bit. So I really I loved it when Gregor kind of was remembering his, fighting capabilities, and for some reason he goes to rescue the Colonel, and the Colonel's like, "Just go without me," just what a fucking pussy. Let's be honest here. And he's the reason Gregor got left behind.
100%. I'm like, okay, so I get it. He did serve his purpose, and he did help them along. But man, the same day he found out he was a clone commando, he also just died. He didn't do I would have liked it if I get it. That's the point of tragedy, but give him a little bit longer before you kill him off. But no, that same day, boom, he's done.
I'll give you an interesting fact. I'm not going to say how or what context, but he's alive.
Woo! Do we see him again?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now you got me excited to see Gregor. Do we see what's his nuts again? Tommy Wiseau?
No, you don't see Borkus, but you see
Borkus.
you see Gregor. I won't say when, how, who, what, why, but you do see Gregor again.
He's in those Twilight healing baths.
Oh yeah.
With who's the Carl Weathers character from Mandalorian?
Grief Karga.
Grief Karga.
Yeah.
So 2 thumbs up?
2 thumbs up, yeah.
My God. We're really at the point of no return. This episode's point of no return. After believing themselves safe, Colonel Gaskin and D-Squad discover that they are prisoners of a separatist captured Republic cruiser, find themselves immersed in a thwarting of a plot to destroy the Republic space station, holding a strategic conference. So again, they're just getting in a bunch of adventures. This is even when I read them, right, and it's just like Anakin and Obi-Wan show up. They're dealing with one of those big, evil, almost like K2SO robots that are after them. And there's some comedic stuff where he's just he tries to swipe them, and R2 duck, and it was just this was very kiddie as well. But that the plot they gave is literally that. They find out about this plot, they try to spring it, and they meet up with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and they just go good job, droids. And that's this episode. It's a thumbs up for me. I have nothing juicy to say about this. These are just filler episodes.
I don't know how daft you can be is to think, okay, I'm escaping on this Republic shuttle that was being controlled by droids up to the Republic cruiser that is obviously separatist controlled, and think that it's okay, walk out on the bridge and hand your chip over to the he's daft. He's so daft. But I mean, I love this episode. I'll give it a thumb and up and a half. I love the conclusion of this episode. I love how the explosion happens, and just the sheer terror and velocity of it. It's just wild. Because they had all that rhodium or whatever the explosive stuff was.
Oh, look at me. You're canon junkie, not me. Yes, the rhodium is exactly what's on the ship at the Island of Dawn.
Yeah, it was just absolutely just amazing.
What was those guys' name again?
What's his what?
The alien name? The Tommy Wiseau alien?
Tommy Wiseau alien?
Yeah, in the last episode.
Borkus.
Borkus. I gotta remember the name. I keep forgetting Borkus.
Borkus.
Borkus. One Borkus thumb I give it.
Yeah, thumb and a half for me.
Oh my God. Immenseness? Is that eminence? Eminence. Good job, Taylor.
Your eminence.
Eminence. Borgus. Darth Maul and Savage Opress formed an alliance with the Mandalorian terrorist group known as Death Watch and several crime syndicates, including the Fowling's Black Sun, the Pike Syndicate, and the Hutt Cartel, in order to destroy all their common enemies. This, and obviously something's going to happen in a few episodes from here, but this I can probably say is clearly maybe my favorite arc that we've had so far. It's so good. One, I love Maul. When I was a kid, you see that look, but I've loved what they've done with him here. But it just gets better and better. We're going to talk about the other two episodes. I love this entire arc with him and Savage. But this was just simple. They need power. They want to take down things. They want to get Obi-Wan. They need criminals. They need an army. And, which we'll talk about, they need something to prepare for Palpatine or whatever's coming their way, right? And this episode was simple, but just very effective. And I love that they're visiting places we don't know, places we do know, like Jabba's palace, which I love that one point where he has that guy and he's like interrogating him and he's like, what do you know? And he's like, oh, Jabba's at the palace. And he's like, so all you can tell me is that Jabba is at Jabba's palace. And then Savage just cuts him down. We also have that cool thing. I'm not sure, is it Black Sun or Pike's when they have that round table meeting? And at first they're like, we won't join you.
That was the Black Sun.
And Savage just boomerangs his lightsaber, throws it, and it decapitates everyone at the table and comes back. And then the guy last like, you make a compelling argument or something like that. So this episode was simple, but it was great character development with Savage and Darth Maul because he's his master, but you could see especially what's going to happen later. They're getting a little closer, and Savage, there's not really when they first did the Master and Apprentice thing, it felt like Savage was fighting her. It felt like I could be the master, where this does feel like he is his right-hand guy. He's learning from him. I liked all of Darth Maul's interaction with the Pre-Vizsla. I liked what they had going on. Obviously, again, in the episodes later, we get to find out more of what their thinking is. But this was just like a perfect setup episode what happened. So this is a 2 thumbs up for me, but I loved this episode.
Yeah, this episode was awesome just to see, the dynamic of all the criminal gangs coming into play. Especially, just the Pike Syndicate and Al-Hada, all these different characters. And I really, really enjoyed how, that Black Sun scene was just hilarious and brutal. And it's just amazing how he's kind of turning around. And he's got normal-looking legs, which I really like now. It just blends with the character much more nicely.
We forgot to mention, or I forgot to mention, Savage is like all robotic now, too.
Well, the robotic arm,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like that's, he's like his brother, so.
Yeah, it is very well done, and I love how obviously in the years from now that the Crimson Dawn is gonna have like rifts with other criminal gangs like the Pike Syndicate and stuff like that, which I think is cool. After all this dynamic has unfolded,
we hope. Are we gonna see that?
Well, we saw it in Solo, right? So we know like Crimson Dawn has.
But I mean, Darth Maul running Crimson Dawn. What's your percentage? Because I know we've heard rumors of like a Crimson Dawn, like Solo sequel series without Solo. We have another animated show, which we're going to talk about in the future. That might be a sequel to Rebels, but it couldn't be that, right? Because it's a sequel. So it's like, what's your percentage of us seeing it again with Darth Maul running it? Animated or live action?
I think we could see it in season 7 because from what I can tell you, from my knowledge in season 7 of Clone Wars,
but no,
the Mandalorian that still served Maul break him out of jail or whatever.
Of season 7?
In season 7. Well, I don't know if this is going to happen in season 7, but leading up to season 7.
Is this arc the last time we see Darth Maul?
Until season 7, because he's in season 7. So
yeah, because I have questions about that. But the thing is, Crimson Dawn wouldn't be formed yet because that gets formed way after Revenge of the Sith. It's closer to New Hope, though, right? Because if you think about in Solo, Crimson Dawn is operating, so that's...
Well, Crimson Dawn's operating, like, Solo is like 10 years before New Hope, isn't it?
So that's what I mean. It's closer to New Hope than it is Revenge of the Sith, and that
I
would
guess
be in
so,
season 7,
yeah,
right?
but yeah.
You could see the maybe origins of it, but not like... I mean, him running the whole organization. I want to see that.
Yeah, I want to see that too.
What's your percentage?
Probably like a 25-30%. Like he'd be running it. Yeah, no kidding. He'd be running it closer to Revenge of the Sith than we would see him running it, closer to Solo, because he wasn't really running it like headstrong in Solo. He was just he was on the back seat letting Dryden do his own thing.
But he's still
right?
the guy.
He's
right?
still the guy.
I'd like
to see
that ascension to him becoming the guy.
Yeah.
So.
But in this case, I think it foreshadows that kind of lead towards, him obviously messing up big time running his crime syndicate and it not favoring well.
He did pretty well. Honestly, he did pretty well, and he had it all under control until somebody shows up cloaked at the end, right? So I think he did a pretty good job, and that's one thing I do like because I had heard, and these episodes do make it a lot better for me because I had heard that, Darth Maul, because I remember when Solo happened, I was like, why is he here? I hadn't watched Clone Wars as far as, he becomes like this crime syndicate person. And to me, that never fit because if you just look at my experience with him with just Phantom Menace, he just looks like a brute. It's kind of like what Savage is. That's him. So I never picture that. But these episodes have helped. The same way where people say, it helps with Anakin. It helps a little bit, but for me, the writing is still not strong enough for me to make that link of like, the term really works for me. The writing is good enough where I do feel that I can see him now as like a crime, like, because he is still like a Sith, but he's not like, he calls himself a Sith and he wants him and Savage to be the rule of two, but he's still not really. He's kind of like off on his own, like he's kind of a hybrid. So I liked this episode seeing that side of, I could actually seeing him and his intimidation rise up and things like that. So
yeah.
Anything else?
No, I would give
Rating?
this 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Shades of Reason, episode 15 of season 5. Maul's alliance helps with Death Watch and their leader Pre Vizsla conquer Mandalore and imprison Duchess Satine. But when Vizsla's ambitious surface, how long will the alliance last? Again, a strange Wikipedia one. They end with a question mark and stuff like that. So the first ones I'm getting, everybody. This one is the whole them taking over, right? But because I'm trying to think, because it blends a little bit 2 and 3. When is the turn on Maul? Because at one point they turn on Maul. Does that happen in this episode, or is it kind of with the next episode?
I think it happens at the end of this episode. The end of this episode is when he kills Vizsla, takes command, and then Bo-Katan just kind of opts out.
Yeah, because the beginning of this episode, they create this plan that Maul says, hey, we're going to storm Mandalore and just make it look like pretty much a terrorist attack. Then you guys are going to come in and save us. They even like fakely arrest Savage. Unfortunately for Savage, it's not fake. And then Maul gets in. I think Maul, I understood what happened because they had 2 guns pointing at his head. I think, and this is probably just Clone Wars anime show, I think they arrested him a bit too easily. I think he didn't really put much up of a fight. But you could kind of see that also he got arrested and he was trying to think of who could be the new leader. And he goes, that prime minister that's also locked up as well. That's kind of shady. So I liked everything of 1. I really liked all the Maul stuff and seeing that correspond. But then I like seeing Pre Vizsla. Like, you even got the idea in the first episode because Maul says something and Vizsla like clenches his fist or something like that. So you can see that he doesn't agree with him. And even though Vizsla is also a murderer and technically a criminal, the way you look at it, he still views himself as not that. He still views himself as being just and right and being a normal person for his people in the galaxy. And he still looks as Maul's like, we don't want to work with these like criminals, stuff like that. Even though these guys are full on criminals now, these Death Watch people. So I loved everything. The fight with the dark saber was great, and I couldn't believe how he executed him. This is some dark stuff.
Oh, it was brutal. Only the strongest shall rule.
Oh yeah, right in front of what's Satine's sister's name? Sabine.
Bo-Katan.
Fuck.
What'd you say?
Sabine, and that's coming up in Rebels. So I'm watching Rebels right now. So Bo-Katan, I like her a lot too. I liked everything. I liked the Maul stuff. I liked the Mandalore stuff, and I liked the Death Watch stuff. So, and the Duchess stuff was a lead up to, okay, obviously, I kind of had ideas coming, but it made sense to plan, right? He wants to get Obi-Wan. He kidnaps Duchess. So, all good stuff. Two mega thumbs up for me.
Yeah, this episode again, it was just awesome to see that duel between Pre Vizsla and Maul, because Maul was like really trying, and like he gets those scars on his face.
Oh yeah, from those like goblin,
goblin shuriken things. Yeah.
How'd you get that? Bike messenger. Knocked me down. I have to go. But Dad, you just got here. Check out May Spider-Man commentary track exclusive on Patreon, $5 level. Continue.
Bike messenger. God damn.
What a terrible excuse.
Yeah,
Bike
terrible.
messenger knocked me down. You have a huge gash on your arm. Come on, Peter Parker. Come on, Toby.
God. Just a great episode. It just, the fight sequences alone was just fantastic, and I love seeing that dynamic between Bo-Katan when she realized, like, okay, because Maul did the same thing that Palpatine did. You know, he just kind of took over control politically and rose to
secretly.
the high, and secretly and politically rose to the highest rank. Just, you know, he's got other people that are visually in the forefront for the civilians, but he's controlling everything. So.
Yeah, and even then, that's what I liked about Maul, like. Pre Vizsla viewed him as super powerful and untrustworthy, but even with the next episode, he's like to that prime minister guy. He's like, or even in the end of this episode, he's like, well, you can lead him, and we'll make sure everything's just and you have what you're going. Because there's always this sense that Maul could kill you at any second, but it's not in the way of Vader where he's a loose dog where he'll just choke you because he's mad. He still feels control, and he still feels that he's going to do what's best for the plan right now. If the plan is to make sure this general's fine, it's okay because he doesn't really... He's threatening because he's Darth Maul, and you've seen what he can do, and he'll kill you if you get across him. But as long as you don't cross him, he's pretty not... I'm not going to say chill, but like he didn't threaten that Prime Minister later. He just told him this is the way it's going to be, and if you want to go down this route with me, we can, and then you do it. The same thing with Pre Vizsla. Like he turned on him, but they had a good working relationship. He's like, I'll make sure you run Mandalore. You just have to support me. He could have easily taken over Mandalore and everything like that. He took it over because... Like they kind of tried to kill him, right? But I like.
Well, he took it over they tried to kill him, but also in the sense where he took it over in a way that he knew, like he knew that the only way to control Mandalore and control Death Watch would be to do it through the rite of passage.
But that's what I like. That wasn't his first plan. His first plan legitimately was to work with Pre Vizsla and create this empire. So that's what I liked because if he would have just taken over right away, I mean that would have been just kind of generic and like, okay, I got it, you're killing everybody. It's still cool, but at the end of the day, I liked the levels of that because then when he got portrayed, he didn't really see it coming, and then obviously it didn't work out for Pre Vizsla. So
no, it didn't. Yeah, and I love when Bo-Katan just kind of like just yelled out like no non-Mandalorian will ever rule Mandalore.
Oh, yeah.
Like
and then
even like
Mandalorian v Death Watch battle.
Yeah, they turned on each other and everything, and that was just super sick. And they left and they were like blowing things up and just it was just epic. So I give this 2 thumbs up.
The Lawless, and I'm assuming this has to be, I don't know what happened, but this has to be our thumbnail, right? Savage, Darth Maul, and Emperor fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be.
You don't want Borkus?
So I'd heard about the Bork. I wish if this was another world we could. Having assumed control, this is a long one, stay tuned, folks. Having assumed control over a majority of Death Watch after killing Vizsla in a duel. It's kind of like recapping everything in the last episode. All right. Maul proceeds to lure Obi-Wan Kenobi to Mandalore with news of Satine's capture. Obi-Wan borrows Anakin's ship, the Twilight. See, these are not details needed in the Wikipedia
The Twilight
synopsis, which I never knew was called the Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been called that in the movies?
Yep.
Wow. Have they said that in the movies?
I think they said it. They said that in the Clone Wars movie.
Attack of the Clones or Clone Wars?
The Clone Wars.
That
movie.
doesn't count. That's not the live action. Canon doesn't matter. In order to save his love, excuse me, after stealing the armor of Death Watch soldier, Obi-Wan uses his disguise to sneak into the jail, which I love the red armor. So cool.
Oh, it's very cool,
it's
yeah.
Awesome. He and Satine manage to escape to his ship. However, they're soon pursued by Darth Maul and recaptured. Back to the throne room, Darth Maul proceeds to force-choke Satine as he and Obi-Wan debate which side of the Force is more powerful. Darth Maul then stabs Satine with the Darksaber, and then she dies in Obi-Wan's arm, proclaiming him, I've loved you always, and I always will. Obi-Wan is then escorted to Mandalore in jail. However, on the way there, he is rescued by Bo-Katan and her Death Watch faction. Meanwhile, a hostile takeover captures the attention of Darth Sidious, Maul's former master, who travels to Mandalore to take care of the rogue Sith brothers. At the same time, Bo-Katan and Obi-Wan fight their way through the brewing war, making it to the new ship Obi-Wan to escape in. Obi-Wan then discovers that Bo-Katan is the sister of Duchess Satine. He expresses his condolences to her as he leaves the planet. In the Mandalorian's throne room, Sidious kills Savage and takes Maul prisoner, hinting at he has a sinister plan in mind. That's what I mean. There's so many ones that just like, what was the
one sentence and you got a whole fucking paragraph.
The first episode when we did after the ship crashes, desert planet, D Squadron Colonel must find a way out to back to Coruscant. And it's just like, and then this was everything. This episode is like 2 thumbs and a boner. This episode was so good. There's so much going on. This is like movie level quality. This is the stuff I wish the prequels was. So much is going on. Great stuff with Maul. Great stuff with the Mandalorian's Death Watch. Great stuff with Obi-Wan. It just was a home run. Like hit home run, ran back, hit it again, hit another home run. It was just like a grand slam, and he did it all by herself. It was fantastic. So much development here. And even myself, I knew the Satine thing was coming because I had heard that Darth Maul had killed her, and it made sense. She's not in any really other prequels, like canon stuff that I had known of or heard of. So, but that was done really well. I liked it. It was classic Force. Nothing too new, but it was still just classic Star Wars of these 2 characters debating the light side and the dark side, right? You choose the light side or the dark side because you're weak. And he goes, no, I choose it because it's more powerful. And then Obi-Wan talks about this origin, which I didn't know that like he wasn't chosen the dark side. It was kind of chosen for him, the sisters.
Well, we know that through like how Savage was trained.
But I didn't know that was still the case with, I didn't know that was a forced upon thing. Because those Dathomirian people, they still look like they wanted to kind of level up. And to me, I never had that in my head canon. I always thought Darth Maul was like wanting to be on the dark side, which he kind of is, but still, like, this sounds like it was really forced upon him. So,
well, it was. I think his origin, his mother Talzin, like handed him over to Palpatine, but Palpatine kind of fucked her over.
Well, exactly, right? So it's just like, that's not the way. So that kind of adds some layers to him. And then we get the big showdown, which I have lots of questions. So I'm going to let Taylor go in a second. But the showdown, and I knew this was coming too, because I've seen them like best lightsaber duels, but it really does like stand for it. I can't believe still that we've not seen Darth Maul with his double bladed lightsaber.
I know, right?
I thought for sure when Savage got killed, he was going to force
I
get
know.
it, but he didn't. So, but that was all cool. And Savage, it was a good death because we kind of saw them getting a little closer. He went to him and was a little like he felt bad as bad as Darth Maul could. But then eventually Palpatine, and that's why I didn't like him getting arrested so easy in the last episode, because he went toe-to-toe with Palpatine for a while. I don't think Palpatine was ever in a way where he was going to die, but still he held his own until the end. He just got fucked up by Sheev. The big Sith cock took him all over.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was something, and that's something I'm learning of Darth Maul too, because I've learned in Rebels that he's scared of Darth Vader. And even in this, like the Maul that I always pictured, he would have never asked for mercy. So that's kind of a new wrinkle. So Darth Maul's not as badass as I pictured, but that's not a bad thing. It's just he's a bit more of a different character. So I'm still getting accustomed to that. But and that's not a negative. It's just like I said, Maul so far has always just been a mega badass and like really dark, where this is like he became like a shell of himself in that moment. So yeah, great episode. I'm excited. I have some questions, but Taylor.
Yeah, it's just this episode it's 2 thumbs up for me. It's intense. It delivers on so many levels. And a fun fact I always thought was interesting was the movie. What movie was it?
Top Secret.
No.
Nymphomaniac.
It has Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman in it. Moulin Rouge. I always found this episode was very similar to Moulin Rouge, where Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan, falls in love with this girl named Satine, which happens to be the same name as Satine, the Duchess Satine.
She's blonde.
And and then obviously Duchess Satine, she's a duchess, and then in in the Moulin Rouge, Satine is trying to hook up with a duke. So there's just so many different dynamics that they kind of incorporated into this. But, yeah.
President Obama, who is the president.
The president.
Vargas. Is that his name Vargas?
Borkus.
Borkus.
With a K. So
Silent D.
It's that whole sequence of when Obi-Wan thinks that Maul's gonna like kill him, and then the music just is building up like do do do, and then it just cuts to that like light high note of when he just holds the blade and moves her back into it with
very
the Force.
Very sinister. That whole time he's very sinister, and that's what I mean. Like in that moment, he's so dark, and like you can't. Not that I feel bad for him, but you can't feel anything for this character because he's just awful. He's just like the embodiment of hatred. But then later on, he's like, just like he's asking for mercy, and he's a scared little man, So it's just like strange to see that in 2 episodes. A good strange, but just like not what I was expecting. So.
Yeah, he's so sinister for sure. Him doing that and just seeing how broken Obi-Wan was, it's just unbelievable. The hair was dangling on his forehead too. Like he didn't have that perfect Obi-Wan hair. It was just nuts, and it just this whole sequence now too, when like the Emperor's like Sith theme cues in, when Palpatine's like closed his eyes, and like the like senator guy comes in, and Palpatine's like prepare my ship or whatever, and then we get the awesome scene of Obi-Wan escaping with Bo-Katan, and I love the little Mandalorian shields, their wrist shields, which are pretty cool. But when he like opens up the bay door opens up, and you just see this whole like Mandalorian war going on. It's just so cool.
Yeah, all the action stuff, like I talk about like the lightsaber stuff, but all the action on the ground with Obi-Wan and with Bo-Katan. Really good stuff. Grenades everywhere. Just, lots of good stuff going on.
I love seeing Obi-Wan wearing Mandalorian armor, and I love that one Darth Maul's like head Mandalorian, because he's like all red and his helmet has like Maul spikes on it. Looks so cool. But I love seeing like Maul get into the gauntlet fighter and just flying away, and then even then that was like a good nod towards Revenge of the Sith. Like Anakin's the father, isn't he? I'm so sorry. He's like, oh, you're Satine's sister, aren't you? I'm so sorry. Just good little nod, foreshadows there. But yeah, when Palpatine arrives, just that the shuttle lands and those poor two bastards just get force choked, not even standing a chance. And he's not saying anything. He's sinister. And that whole dynamic and dialogue of just him like killing the two bodyguards and walking in and Maul just sensing the presence and Maul being scared because he knows what Sidious is capable of.
He tries to like trick him, which doesn't work at all. But
I didn't sense he tried to trick him. I felt like he was being, a part of him just felt it meant like immediately succumbed and just like, I do this because I want to return to your side. I want to be a part of this.
That wasn't his initial plan, though. I don't think.
No, but I think if Sidious allowed him, I think he would have gone back and like tried to.
I don't think
join
so.
him.
I think the way Maul's so snaky now, he would have looked. He would have done a Palpatine to Plagueis. He would have been looking. You asleep over there, Sheev? Oh no, okay, that's fine. I think that would have been Palpatine right away.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's
or that would have been Darth
possible.
Maul right away, like trying to find a way out of that.
Yeah,
like he can't trust this guy.
No, not in this sense, because like he says, you become a rival. My favorite thing is Savage not knowing what the fuck's going on. He's so clueless. He doesn't know who Palpatine is. He doesn't know who the Sith Lord is.
Clancy Brown's like, they just wrote this character in
oh
for me
yeah.
to die.
Then the Palpatine like force pushing him up against the walls, and then like they dropped down and like whipped out their lightsabers to fight, which was super cool. And then
Palpatine was doing a lot of flipping, just like the.
Oh, he's doing like 1080 spins
Flips
from
that
prone
made
position.
Sense though in this one, where the actual like gravity made sense, not in the Revenge of the Sith, where this is like a game that has a glitch. It makes no sense whatsoever. Hate that scene.
It's cool because you get to see his dual red lightsabers, which you get to see obviously in Revenge of the Sith because he's got two sabers in that.
But you don't see him using them at the same time.
No, but he does have two. So
and didn't he lose them both, or he lost one?
He lost the one out the window with Mace. Then he whipped out the other one on Yoda.
Yeah, he didn't lose that one, right?
No, he just put it away and was using like cheeky force shit. Yeah, so that their whole fight was just awesome. I loved how it came down to the point where Sidious ended up separating Savage and Maul, because together they were like holding their own.
Oh yeah,
but
there's a chance they could have got a lucky blow in. There's a chance.
There is a chance. I don't get how. Well, I mean, Savage was good at killing lots of Jedi, but I don't think he warrants lasting longer than Kit Fisto. Or, those other three Jedi Masters. Because, like, when you watch Savage fighting, he's so sluggy with his fucking swings. He swings his whole body once, and then back in Sidious is just leaning out of the way.
I guess the idea is, like, yes, Kit Fisto's a better fighter than Savage, but Savage is definitely more powerful, right? So I think that's the idea, is just that he's so massive, like, even with blocks, you'd, like, feel like a harder thing. Yeah, I'm never going to defend that because I hate the Revenge of Sith, that scene where he kills Kit Fisto, all of them, with a passion. We debate all the time. It's so stupid. Why they could have made that 5 minutes? Like, it's Kit Fisto like 2 blocks. Kit Fisto's the worst. They've ruined that character, even though he's no character. But I could see Savage, the way they built him up, a bit more powerful than Kit Fisto.
One of my favorite moments in this fight scene is when Savage, like, he's got one of his ends of his saber ignited and like swings down and plants it in the ground, and Sidious leans back, and then he swings his sabers towards Savage, and Savage ignites the other end of his lightsaber and blocks it. It's just so cool.
Killed him in a brutal way. He killed him just like backwards.
Yeah, he was laughing and like he moonwalked backwards, swinging his lightsabers around, just fucking crazy.
He defies the laws of physics.
He really does.
That's his ultimate force power. What do? Gravity can't contain me. All right.
But it was just wild because he knocked you could look at Savage and he was like doing like the fucking cartoon
on the ropes.
hitting the head thing.
He was like the UFC or boxer fighter and like, you good? And he's like, yeah. And then the next time he walks up, he just gets punched.
Yeah.
That was Savage. He should not have kept fighting. He should have retreated. But he's an idiot. So he's all bronze, right? So
yeah, that kill was just crazy, and then
he was just freestyling on him in front of Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, just
he
laughing.
His own brother, like laughing and like not even looking at him and not looking at you. It's like, oh, you bastard.
I like how he left Maul a second to kind of jump down and go see him. And again, it was cool seeing the green stuff disappear. And I love when Savage, because it's kind of like them accepting and kind of like telling the fans, like, yeah, we know we weren't trying to replace Maul, because he's like, I wasn't like you,
I'm
brother.
not as good as you.
I
I'm
never
not strong."
was.
Yeah.
Just totally throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I didn't like at first that Palpatine let him go down there and like have a moment, but then I understood him, the lightning, everything like that. So we don't know we know he's in Clone Wars season 7, right? Because they've released that image of him and Ahsoka fighting, which I can't wait. That's gonna be cool. But so we have no idea, and we know, okay, so he's eventually gone from Palpatine. He ends up running Crimson Dawn. Somehow that falls. We don't know how that falls, and then he ends up with Ezra looking for Obi-Wan because he's just obsessed. So obviously you've said this before. There's lots of stuff we don't know. So we don't know what this plan is that Palpatine has for him, right?
all we know is that at this point, Palpatine does have a plan for him for some shape or form, but he throws him into a jail. I can't remember the name of the planet that he gets thrown into the jail on.
How do we know this?
It's releases information on it. I can't remember where the source comes from, but
Okay.
his Mandalorians end up saving him, and I think that's something that we will see in the Clone Wars season 7.
I hope so
Because we see his Mandalorians come back and Ahsoka fighting them in like certain cutscenes.
the only thing I'm fine with the same though. That the only thing I really hope for is that we find out what Palpatine wanted to do with them. Because if not, that to me just feels like they put it in there because we want to keep Darth Maul alive. How do we do that? Just say he has a plan for him. Like, okay, so if we never find out what Palpatine's plan was, even if it's just a quick conversation, that works for me. But if we don't, that'll be like marks off for me and disappointing. Because if he's just in prison, they bust him out and they never speak of again what was going to happen, that's like kind of like really lazy writing just to make sure Maul's alive. So
Yeah.
I hope we get that answer. But
I think we will, because he's alive and he's popping off in season 7. So I think we'll get some light shed on what happened.
I hope they could easily just bust him out of jail. But what do you think? What would Palpatine want with him?
I don't know. He's a powerful former Sith that Palpatine trains, so Palpatine could use him for whatever he wants.
Well,
his
that's what I mean.
personal
What specifically
pleasures,
in
or
this time in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith? What
He
would
could
he need with him?
maybe eventually use him as like a trainer for his Inquisitors down the road, or
Is there a chance even if Dooku stepped out of line, like assassinate him with Darth
yeah,
Maul?
he could throw him in as like a backup if Anakin
yeah.
gets killed in the Clone Wars, then
Yeah,
he's got
yeah.
his apprentice. It's hard to say because again, Palpatine, he's got fucking contingencies for his contingencies. So it's just Maul became an extra contingency that he got to fucking throw out there to use. So
And you think that's why? Because I think I thought it was risky for him to go to the planet. I really did, especially Obi-Wan's there. Why do you think he chose to go there, not send Count Dooku or something like that?
he could have sent Count Dooku, but I think he knows that obviously Savage almost killed Count Dooku.
True. And he
So I
wants
think
to make sure the job's done.
yeah, he needs to make sure the job's done because this is obviously out of hand. Maul, he's tried to kind of silence it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's
and,
been on the D-low.
Yeah, so I think it could easily blow up into something much more serious than needs be. Another fun fact too: when Maul gets taken away, his Mandalorians show up to that area and find the Darksaber, and they recover it. And then when they break Maul out, they give it to him. So that's
You
how.
think that's what he's gonna fight Ahsoka with?
No, because he's using a double-bladed red lightsaber in the trailer for season 7.
Do you
so
think it's so that's the first time we got to see it? It's probably Savage's, I imagine, right? Somehow they found it and like this is what's your brother's, right?
I don't know, because I think he's using the same. Well, maybe that'd be kind of cool. It looked like the
Yeah.
similar saber he used in Rebels, but who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is probably my favorite episode of all time. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Sabotage. After Ahsoka manages to rescue Anakin from certain peril on Kato Nemo.
Kato Nemoida.
Kaden Momoa. Taylor's definitely seen this episode more than once. The two are called back to Coruscant from the front lines to investigate a terrorist bombing in the Jedi Temple. This is, for me, like, it's a basic episode, but it was really good. This is just like a detective episode. It's just, they got to find out what happened to the temple. Okay, it was a bombing. It's this Jedi. What was his name? Jax or Josh?
He wasn't a Jedi. It was.
Wow. What was he? I thought he was a Jedi.
No, he was. Remember, he was just one of the engineers that like passed all the screening tests to work on like the weaponry and
But
the
I thought
gunships.
his wife was all like, he always wanted. He was training to be.
He was training to always like work hard as a technician so he could work for the Jedi because the
What a
droid
sad life.
remember he said in the hologram that we can confirm no Jedi were responsible for the blast.
Okay, so they find out him who's tied to the Jedi was the one that bombed it, but then there's some with nanobites. they think it's then his wife, and they bring it in. So it's something. If you ever watch the Batman animated series, there's lots of good detective episodes here. I really like that. It was not really noir, but it was just like Ahsoka and Anakin just like interrogating people, looking around. So that's why I'd give this a 1.5 because I really enjoyed it. This was just a really good setup episode. Nothing amazing happened in it, but it was a perfect setup for what's going to happen. So
yeah, and first time we get to see the new Jedi Starfighters, which is very, very cool. Very cool score that kind of kicked in there.
The score in these last 4 episodes, especially the last episode I'll get into, you brought up the Maul stuff, but this was... There's times where I like where they do different versions of the themes, and there's some stuff that is good. Not first season with the rock music, that was bad. But the Wrong Jedi, when we get into, there's one track in particular I gotta look on my phone because it was phenomenal. It's the best music this show's had so far. So
yeah, it just gets so good. Yeah, I love the whole sequence of like Ahsoka jumping and saving Anakin out of his ship. I think that was really, really awesome.
Yeah.
It was a good kind of nod towards Anakin saving Obi-Wan.
Attack the Clones when they're... Well, I thought too when they're running after, what was her name, Jedha or Jita, his wife. But either when they're running through the city and they're jumping over stuff, to me that felt like them chasing Zero. Was her name Zero in Attack of the Clones or Zed? No, Zed.
Zed.
Yeah,
Zero
yeah.
was that hut.
Oh God, Zero the Hut. Don't even. I do want to forget about that. But it felt kind of like that too. There was no like jumping on a droid. It wasn't the high, but just like the ground city, the way it's like kind of lower levels of the city, and it's just like people are pointing. It just felt like a kind of some tributes to Attack of the Clones.
There's a fun fact. Anakin yells to Ahsoka, like, you take the high ground, and she goes up onto the high parts, so he takes the lower parts. But he's never one for the high ground.
No.
Yeah, very good episode. I give 2 thumbs up. It was just...
Ooh, whoa.
Actually, no, thumb and a half. Yeah.
Whoa, backtrack.
It was very interesting to see this episode, and it feels like it could be a one and done episode, but I like seeing like the rioting and stuff like that. Considering how the later episodes go, I don't get why the wife like revealed herself in the crowd when she knew what she did.
Yeah.
Because she knew what she did, and she knew her husband was going to blow up. And so she's like, that's my husband. Where is he? Where is he? And she made herself aware, and she didn't have to because they didn't have any leads. So
yeah.
she kind of fucked herself over.
Yeah,
but,
that's kind of some of the kiddie stuff, unfortunately. But
yeah, good episode.
Episode 18, The Jedi Who Knew Too Much. Ahsoka Tano is blamed for the murder of Letta Termond, a key suspect in the bombing, because like Taylor said, she made herself a suspect. Is detained by Admiral Tarkin. Taylor must have loved that. Despite Anakin's best efforts to exonerate her, she's forced to escape the military prison where she is and flees. Oh my goodness, I'm having bad problems here. She flees into Coruscant underworld to find the actual perpetrator and prove her innocence. The same way the first episode was like a classic, like fun detective tale. This was like any like escape movie where you've been framed for something and you gotta go, except in Star Wars. This was all good stuff, and I like because obviously I had heard about she leaves the Jedi Council, and we're gonna get into more episodes, but I thought the transition or the build up to it's really good, and you can see the little inklings of she's just kind of caught off guard that they do just really condemn her very quickly, and even more so the next few episodes. But right away, they're just like, we got to imprison you. Even then, she's like, oh, I didn't do this. They're just shooting out of the commandos, like people she's known. So I thought that was all really well done. The levels of seeing Ahsoka, who, like I even talked about a few episodes, her as a main now. She's a badass in these episodes, but her as a main, I completely buy and I like. And then, so her story is good, but then also seeing, which they've touched upon a few times, but I think this is the best touching upon the Jedi being not right and just being too overconfident or just kind of being blinded. So all that stuff was good. And then just the actual action, them escaping, like Ahsoka, the cool way she like cut through the floor to get out of there. All really good stuff. So just a really solid escape episode. I would give this, I'll give it 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love this episode. I love seeing Admiral Tarkin. I love seeing that rift. I love seeing the rift between her and the, essentially the Jedi, because the council, because it's a military operation. So it's because clones died, it's kind of keeping her away from the Jedi. The Jedi don't have much jurisdiction on this in this case. And one of my favorite scenes is when Anakin is talking to Commander Fox, and he's like, the Darth Vader theme kicks in, and he's getting really pissed.
He literally points his finger against the glass.
Oh yeah, and
then
you're
gonna press it against the glass, Annie.
It's so good. And then Fox like kind of like nods his head, and the boys activate their electro poles and walk over. It's just like, oh, this is so good.
And there's one moment too when they were chasing Ahsoka. They were a bunch of younglings with lightsaber, and I'm like, oh, that's not the last time they're gonna see Anakin.
Yeah. Fun fact about Commander Fox: Anakin actually orders him to die when he turns to Darth Vader.
Wow.
Well,
Fuck
when they're chasing Jocasta Nu on the Jedi
Oh,
Temple.
no.
Oh yeah.
Jocasta Nu.
Oh yeah. So Commander
Does that
Fox is leading the charge against Jocasta Nu, and he orders them to attack the Jedi, and Commander Fox's clones mistake Darth Vader as the Jedi, so they start attacking him, and then Vader gets fucking pissed, and so he just fucking cuts down and kills Commander Fox.
Wow.
Which is very sad, because Commander Fox is a fucking legit action figure. I have his Black Series figure.
He's a legit action figure.
Oh, yeah. But... yeah, that whole part was really cool. I loved how they the whole frame scene was just awesome. Like it looked like she was, killing Letta, force choking her.
And especially too, yeah, that was good. She's just flying up. Terrible pants up in your pose, like literally like, no, stop. And I did like when she got busted out of jail, she's like, good thinking, master. It's just like, do you think Anakin really just like, I know she respects her master.
There were dead clones on the ground, weren't there?
Yeah.
Good thinking, master.
Well, I don't know if they're dead. I think they were just unconscious.
Oh,
a couple of them
yeah.
woke up. But still, it was just like, I don't think he would even do this risky thing. But my Commander Fox was mostly hated. Wow. I'm looking at the canon of this guy and his Black Series figure.
Yeah. I really I liked her escape. I thought that was really cool. I like isn't that cool? Look at how cool that figure is.
He is very cool. I had a feeling because when he walked in, they made like a big zoom on him. So I'm like, oh, this guy must be important, but I didn't remember why.
Oh yeah, Coruscant Guard. Yeah, I love the whole scene of her escaping. It was just really, really well done.
Was this the episode 2? Because you've told me about them, and I don't think I've seen them. Was this the episode that had the Jedi Council guards? Which is the light?
No, that comes after.
Okay.
Yeah. In this episode, I love the part where she's running on the railing, and the gunship is like gliding like horizontally next to her, and they're firing the stuns at her, and she's doing fucking somersaults, just deflecting the shots.
She's so not a Padawan anymore.
No. Anakin did a good job.
Anakin's holding her back.
Yeah.
He's holding me back. I hate him. I'm ready for the Jedi trials. What will you give this episode?
I give it 2 thumbs up. I love how it ends when Anakin's just saying like, what did he say? Like, come with me and like we'll prove like you're not guilty or whatever. Yeah. And like she just yells at him like, I'm not guilty. You don't believe me and all that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't do this. Yeah, and he's like, I do, and she's like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
The penultimate episode of season 5, To Catch a Jedi. While on the run in the underworld of Coruscant, pursued by Republic authorities, Ahsoka makes a deal with Asajj Ventress to find out the actual murder of Turman. That's not how it went down, but really who the actual murderer really is, leading the two to come to terms with each other in spite of their antagonist past. However, the real perpetrators cast such an allegiance into doubt. Really solid episode. If you've listened to the episodes before, I'm a big Asajj Ventress fan. I like that now that she is. When we last saw her, she was just kind of popping up into bounty hunter territory, but she was still pretty driven by personal stuff. Now she's really just a bounty hunter and just out there doing stuff. So I really like that. I like their dynamic of just not trusting each other. Obviously, they showed some stuff, but right away I felt that she's a red herring, and maybe that's just because it is just kind of very obvious. They do show a hooded figure at one point, but it just right away when they're trying to make before they show that, Ahsoka's just like, it had to be in her. It's just like, well, the last time we saw Ventress, she saved Obi-Wan. So from the viewer perspective, I wish that. I don't know how you could have done it. There was a better way because the drama of is it Asajj? There was no drama because you knew it wasn't her, but all good stuff. The only thing I'm going to ask is, because I know Asajj Ventress dies, what canon does that happen in?
Asajj Ventress?
Yeah. Because it's not in Clone Wars Season 6 coming up, is it?
No, she doesn't die in the show or anything like that. I think if she does die, I think it's in Dark Disciple with Quinlan Voss.
Okay, I think it is, right? They're whole lovers.
Their whole lovers quarrel.
But yeah, I really like this episode. I'd give this 2 thumbs up because it's just more, this is more like that was the escape episode. This is the on the run episode. I liked Ahsoka's little interaction with that younger alien at the beginning. But yeah, again, I love Ahsoka. I love Asajj. I liked the setup here. It was a good action episode. It was a good mystery of who's really behind it. Because I didn't know they do reveal it, but I didn't know because they showed this figure. I like when the figure puts on Asajj's gear and takes her lightsabers. But I had no idea because I was trying to figure out, like, who could this be? And obviously, I should have thought classic Clone Wars animation. They show you one character, it has to be in that. But I just didn't think because it wasn't that important of a character in my opinion. But yeah, really great episode. 2 thumbs for me.
Yeah, it's just I love seeing Asajj kind of turn a new leaf in this episode even more. Just kind of like helping out Ventress or helping out Ahsoka and. Yeah, I mean, just her being on the run and trying to get like help wherever she could, like I guess help from Barriss, and it was super cool to see her fending for herself and seeing the clone troopers kind of just scouring the streets and stuff. I don't have really like too much to say, just that she improvised really well and she flushed her character out more of like how she could handle herself. So
and more like it happens definitely a lot more in the next episode, but it's still like Asajj and her talking about the Jedi Council and her casting her out. So you can see. Like, to me, at the beginning, if a few things wouldn't happen, those first 2 episodes, she's on the run and she feels untrustworthy, but still she would have went back. This, to me, you're starting to see the first little signs of doubt that she's not fully invested in the Jedi Council anymore. And then I think the next episode just really hits it home for her.
Was it this episode or the next one where Anakin confronts Ventress? I think it was the next one, right?
It's next one, yeah, because she's in custody.
Yeah, I give this one a thumb and a half.
Thumb and a half, wow. The wrong Jedi. All these are Jedis. Last episode of season 5. The prosecution begins for Ahsoka in the high courts after Jedi Council expels her from the Jedi Order. As Padme fights to prove her innocence, Anakin finds information to relieve Ahsoka of her charge and reveal the true culprit of the crimes, Barriss Offee. However, though cleared of all charges, Ahsoka is disillusioned by the turn of events and leaves the Jedi Order soon after. Excuse me. So that's why I want to mention that score. When she leaves and tells them she's not coming back, and then her and Anakin, there's that shot of her walking. Score is phenomenal. One of my favorite tracks ever. It was something really different. I can't wait to find it on my Spotify or something like that. So the score in this episode, the best it's ever been. Fantastic. I was just like, damn, this is good. This was a great episode. This is the same way I had heard that she'd leave the Jedi Order, and I didn't doubt it. It's not like the Maul stuff where I thought, oh, I need to see how that plays out. I'm like, okay, let's see this. But this really felt right because when she does again get in the trial, they just like treat her like she's
ream her out.
They do, and they treat her like she's just never been a part of their system and everything like that. And that's where I feel like something with the no sex rule and the no love, that's why I think that is a weakness of the Jedi, because that's how they do this. They probably might even feel like, oh, this is Ahsoka, someone I've seen growing up, but I can't think like that. I have to just think just like we think she's guilty, so she's probably guilty. And you just see how cold and calculating they are, but you can see how that really, in the movies, they do that prequels. I think not the greatest job, but in my opinion, other cans flesh out, including this, where that hurt them in the long run, in my opinion. I think there is Jedi should be allowed to love and have friends and everything like that. Kind of hopefully what we see with Rey, with Kylo, or Luke in the maybe if we get some new canon. I don't know if there's a Mara Jade, but I think they shouldn't be cold and calculated, and that's why I think Ahsoka is. Even then, last time we were talking about Ahsoka, she kind of like had feelings for someone. She obviously has different views of the Jedi. She's much more of a Qui-Gon than any of them, so which is kind of a fun thing. I love Qui-Gon, so I love the dynamic of Ahsoka and the Council. I loved Anakin because we're getting to see like Anakin on the verge of being dark side again, throwing everything out the window that he preaches to Ahsoka all the time. Don't get carried away. Don't let your personal. And he's just out there like, I will kill you, Ventress. So, and then we got the reveal. I liked like the switcheroo of Ventress is around and you see like a shadow figure falling. It's Hayden. It's Anakin. The Barriss reveal was fine. I think it was a little tacked on just to be like, it fit with that episode, but because we don't have much in Barriss, for all of a sudden her being like, the Jedi are the problem. We've lost our way. We're warmongers. We're not peacekeepers. It's all true and it fit this episode. I just wish maybe in other episodes, because she's was the apprentice of that Jedi who's green and Luminara. Yeah, so I know we've seen her, and I think we've seen her and Ahsoka have adventures together, right? In the shows,
they had one adventure on Geonosis with the slug things.
I wish we got a little bit more of her, so I felt like this turn was valid. Where really, I felt like this could have been any Jedi that was a friend with Ahsoka. So that's just a minor complaint, but it's still 2 thumb up for me. It's for me probably one of my, I won't say favorite Ahsoka episodes. It's probably the framed one when she's escaping, because there is a lot of time where she's just locked up in here. You had some Padme anime thing, and then the other thing I'll ask you before you go, Ahsoka, when Anakin's like, I understand why you leave the Order, and he's like, trust me, and she goes, I know, which, classic, Harrison Ford line. Is that her insinuating that she's figured out about Padme?
Oh, she knows.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
And we've kind of talked about that before, so loved everything about this, whether it was the stuff right in your face, like Anakin being overly evil, or the subtext like that with the Padme stuff. Great. Even then when she's talking to Padme, she's like, I'm going to find a way and we're going to get through this. And she's like, I don't really have faith in that system at all. So I think it was a perfect setup, and I can see why people are very excited to see. Because is she in any of the Lost Missions?
Ahsoka is not.
Yeah. So I can see why everyone's very excited. I'm excited to get to her in Rebels now because I'm only in the early stage of season 1, but I can see why people are excited to see where her story would go. So great episode. Yeah, 2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah, this episode was just I love the Barasafi kind of reveal, and like she's in Attack of the Clones, which is kind of cool. And
Always comes back.
Oh yeah, another fun fact too. In the first episode of this arc, when they're interviewing Letta, you see Barriss walk past behind Anakin the interrogation room door, looking into the room when the door shuts. Yeah, she was looking.
It's like in Scary Movie 3 when there's got those footage of the aliens. They're like, someone found. Do you remember this?
Keep going.
They're like, someone found this footage of aliens on Earth, and it's just like a birthday party, and in the background the aliens walking, but it's like looking directly at the camera,
yeah.
And then it's like a dog pooping, and it's like it does the same thing. That I'll watch, but it was embarrassed. Just like I'm gonna be bad this episode, you know, like that thing. Like I didn't think it was Barriss, but at the time when we got down very close to finale, it's like. It kind of has to be her because they do that a lot where they introduce somebody and then like they're either going to die or they're going to be the bad guy like Krell, right? It's like, oh, you've never met Krell. Well, he's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
So eventually I was like, okay, this makes sense, but it makes sense with what they've done before. But yeah, I didn't hate it. I just wish we had a bit more time if they were in the show.
Yeah, no, it got pretty entertaining, I'd say, with just how Barriss like putting up a fight against Anakin, and Anakin, like, there's a brief moment where the score kicked in. I'm not even sure what it was, like, in a nod to. I think if there was a brief bit of score that this moment could have reflected and nodded towards, would have been when Luke was in Cloud City and Vader was like force throwing those things at him, and like he was like, yeah, taking the hits. Like that score from there, take a brief bit of that, put it into the moment in the Clone Wars when Anakin ignites the second lightsaber and spins them around, and like just it's such a powerful scene for him. I think it was awesome, and I love the temple guards that come in like cease hostilities with their yellow lightsabers. Very, very cool.
Because you were telling me of Ahsoka a while back ago would have been really punished or like brought down. That's what she would have been.
I feel like that's probably where they would put
rejected
them.
To wear these masks and outfits and everything like that.
Yeah.
Can I ask too? Because I don't think because we won't see Ahsoka for a while. What colors are her lightsabers?
They're like green, and the other one's a different shade of green.
Yeah,
so
I don't like it.
I love it.
She gets like a white one later on, right?
Yeah, white ones are basically red ones that have been purified back.
I kind of like it. Just throws me off when she's fighting, and it's just like, why does she have 2 different colors?
I love the 2 greens. It's like the 2 different like purples you can get in Fallen Order kind of thing.
But you don't use them at the same time. I'm fine with them being 2 different greens, but using them at the same time, it's like red and green together. It's like your eyes. It's hurting them. So.
Another thing too, like for white lightsabers, like the first time we got to see in the Clone Wars is when Barriss and Anakin jumped down next to the younglings, and that old Jedi Master pulled out the white lightsaber. So that was super cool. The younglings, like you got to see that fucking troublemaker kid, like look out, you know,
learning for nothing because he gets
killed,
in a year or 2.
But Anakin just totally channeled the dark side and just kicked the shit out of Barriss and like pushed her against that tree.
Stand a chance.
No, not at all. But she was just so like livid. And another thing too, like I love that whole fight scene. It was great, but I really like the part in the trial. Palpatine's just like, let's just fucking kill this Jedi. Let's get this trial on.
He's any Jedis that can be killed, he's fine with it. So.
Oh yeah, he was so against Ahsoka throughout the whole trial.
Oh yeah.
But that
and
that
anything
was good.
Padme represents too, he's against. So
he's against, yeah. But I agree. I love that whole sequence of Ahsoka leaving and walking away, just the defeat on Anakin's face. And when you if you didn't have season 7 and you just took that as their last moment together and then their first moment together in Rebels, which I'm sure you know they have a moment.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to it.
Do
we know for sure they have a moment in season 7 though coming up?
Yeah, it was in the commercial.
Okay.
Or the trailer.
Are you
or whatever.
sure though it's not old footage or use something like that? It's for sure.
Pretty sure, because she's much older and she's with Mandalorians in the trailer. And Anakin's like, "What are these important Rex? Why you brought us all the way out here?"
Yeah, I hope it's a good episode then, because I agree with you. I would have liked that being the last time. So hopefully it ends on a similar beat where.
Well, he gives her 2 new blue lightsabers in the season 7 as well.
Whoa.
That's
I've
in
been staying away from that stuff because I haven't been caught up, so I didn't want to see. So there you go.
It's
Spoil
all
everything.
commercials.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Kylo Ren's conceived.
he's in it.
World Between Worlds. He's like, hey.
Borkus comes back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just if they didn't have season 7, the ending of season 5 with Ahsoka leaving and then their first encounter in Rebels, it's just that gap and that tension would have just been it's next level. But
yeah.
I'm excited to see her return in season 7. But her leaving, that dynamic and the score just was so powerful, and it's just one of those factors in Anakin's life that leads to his downfall to the dark side. So yeah.
Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We finished off season 5. Exciting times. We got season 6 left after this, the Lost Missions. We got 13 episodes actually instead of 12. So it'll probably be like a 6-7 split or 7-6 split. We'll figure it out. But yeah, very exciting. We're only 2 episodes away for us as far as this review. We finished this retro. It's been a long retro.
Oh yeah, like what, 2 years? In the making?
Oh yeah. TV retros are taking a big break for a while because they are a lot. Well, we love doing them, but they're just a lot of work to get through. So we hope you enjoyed it. Taylor, where can they find the old retros and then the next 2 and then every single Clone Wars season 7 episode review when we do it?
Well, you can find all the old retros. Yeah, basically the internet connection, the search bar, Geek for Space podcast on Spreaker, on iTunes, YouTube. You know, check out all our social media outlets. You can find it. Are you getting episodes early on Patreon? Is that still working for Clone Wars? Or are they just dropping live?
They're just dropping live because they're not early that much. We're getting pretty down to the wire.
Yeah. So yeah, just no more waiting times. You guys are just getting the content right as it comes. So that's juicy and yeah, all the future Star Wars Clone Wars stuff popping off. It's gonna be here and maybe we'll do a Star Wars Rebels retro. I'm just kidding. No, we're not gonna do that. We're taking a big break here.
Yeah, definitely a break. But that's why if you support us on Patreon or anywhere else, we could do those retro. There's so many things we'd like to do. It's not because I would agree, TV shows or Rebels. It's just because we already got so much stuff planned for 2020. Yeah, we got Nolan retro coming up, Harry Potter retro, Bond, so tons of stuff. So thank you very much for tuning in. All the audio and video feeds are down below if you want to follow. Please write a review. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps a lot. That helps us grow, helps us do everything. So thank you very much for tuning in. May the Force be with you.
Always.